Hi everyone, welcome back to the second episode of Back to Earth's Compost 101 crash course, The Issues of Landfills. Today, we will be covering the reality behind why compost, the rich soil amendment you learned so much about in the first episode, is so important for this planet, for our present, and our future. We all have to understand the realities behind our actions, specifically the action of throwing away our food scraps with our regular trash. Before we start, ask yourself this question. In your head, can you map out the exact path an item of food takes from the moment that it is grown to the moment that it is discarded? If the answer is no, then you should keep watching. If the answer is yes, well then you should still keep watching. To understand why landfills harm the planet the way they do, we need to understand how they operate. Simply put, a landfill operates on a regular process of compaction and layering of trash, which, by the way, organic waste is very much included in a large hole in the ground. Various types of trash are collected and brought in from multiple sources: residential, industrial, commercial, and production. In fact, this mixing of different types of trash only adds to the problem of landfills. All this trash is piled up on top of each other, and landfill compactors proceed by shredding, tearing, compressing everything together in order to seal the mass from air to maximize space for even more trash. Sounds lovely, doesn't it? We're not done yet. Stick around. Being the big holes in the ground that they are, landfills, or rather their contents, are exposed to precipitation. This water, contaminated by the decomposing waste, becomes extremely toxic and sinks to the bottom of the landfill. This substance is known as leachate. Now, modern landfills do have synthetic linings, but those sometimes break or are partially dissolved by this said leachate, allowing it to leak. Unfortunately, this leachate is likely to find its way into our natural groundwater reserves. It also poses a risk by contaminating our soils and surface waters, which puts us and wildlife at risk. To put it into perspective, in the United States, 38% of the total population depends on groundwater for their drinking water supply. At this point, you may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with compost? Well, you see, not only do these food scraps contribute to the production of leachate, but piled up under so much trash with no air, it starts to decompose anaerobically and toxically. As a result of this decomposition, enormous amounts of greenhouse gases are released into our atmosphere, notably methane, a gas around 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. In fact, more than 50% of the gases released from landfills consists of methane. Composting creates aerobic conditions for food scraps to break down in a healthy way, without the release of methane. In short, landfills threaten every single part of our biosphere. Before my siblings and I officially founded Back to Earth, we did a lot of research to better grasp the issue we were so intent on fighting. In this video, we would like to share with you some of the facts that pushed us to the deep end of our passion, in the hopes that it does the same for you. Each American throws out about 1,000 pounds of organic waste every single year, which translates into the fact that food scraps make up about 22% of a landfill's content, which goes up every year. Consequently, landfills have become the third largest source of methane emissions in the United States. Landfills are not only a result of waste mismanagement, but they are a result of an evolutionary disconnect we humans have developed between what we consume and how we consume it. Mass production has warped our sense of what it means to consume. Some food industries have become so complex that we have stopped wondering about where our food is grown, what processes it undergoes, and where it ends up. We make ourselves feel better by purchasing organic products, forgetting that what is better for us is not necessarily better for others, nor for the planet. Landfills perfectly exemplify this disconnect we have regarding our consummation. Please don't get me wrong. My words here are not to place blame. They are meant for taking responsibility, a task that includes every single person that has the chance to live in the world that we do in the time we do. Remember this, there is an infinite beauty in waking up from a previously insensible lifestyle and choosing to be better, whether that be through composting or any other approach. Recent technology allows us to collect methane gas produced by landfills and burn it to generate electricity. However, burning methane emits enormous amounts of heat, which threatens certain wildlife, and capture systems often leak. And although newer landfills are now professed as having synthetic lining that minimizes certain problems, such as leachate, there are thousands of older landfills that still exist because upgrading them is a very expensive process. These landfills continue and will continue to contaminate our soils and our water reserves. Let's be real, you and I. Does it make sense to put our trash into large holes in the very ground we cultivate our food on, extract our water from, build our lives on? I think we both know the answer to that. Landfills are a thing of the past, and the longer we utilize them in our present, the more we threaten our future. Now, we may not currently have the power to end the industry of landfills, but we have the power to significantly shape its impact on our planet by taking out an entire waste group that doesn't even belong there in the first place. In the beginning of the video, I posed a question. The reason I wanted you to ask yourself this is not to guilt you, but rather to emphasize on the fact of how little we tend to actually know about where our food comes from, and more respectively to the topic of our video, where our food goes. The good thing is, there's no better time to start learning. Thanks for watching!